Alright, so today on RecNation we're going to put a battery in the Polaris 800 X2. I'll show you what that looks like. I already got the seat and side covers off. We had a April snow, so it's covered in snow. We're going to get the heater turned on and get it melted off. I'll show you where that battery is located here. If you look down under here, there is the battery. I don't know a good way to get it out of there.
What's inside?
Yeah, I can't quite see it there. It's in there. So we're going to try to figure out how to get that battery out of there and get a new one in. Alright, so the battery's down here. I'll try to show you. On the bottom, can't quite see it. Underneath down there is a 10 millimeter. Just got to loosen that up. And then this aluminum piece here will pop off. And we're thinking the battery will slide out and up through here once we get the wires off. So we'll get that done and we'll check back in again. Alright, pick that up. You see there's a little hanger. It comes out. You can see it right under there that it clips on that right there. Well, he's got to get the two wires off and we should be able to slide it right out the back. There it's slid back and we can get to working on getting the wire off. I have to get it twisted around. There she comes out.
Good thing it's a spill-proof battery.
Right. There it is. Now we can get the new one and put her back in. Alright, so we actually found a battery. Sandberg Corners, you've seen the video on that gas station, has batteries for four-wheelers, so we found the correct one here, and now we're going to put it back in. Alright, so putting the battery back in, we had to kind of work it back in the way it was. I had my brother Sam helping me here. He had his hand underneath from the other side to catch it as it came in, because there's not enough room to get both hands and the battery in there, so it kept trying to drop down in. Once we got it back in, we could work it up onto the platform for the battery and kind of stabilize it in there. Then we had to pull the wires back out from behind and get ready to install. There's two bolts that go through to hold the wires in place. There's the hardware. Here we are putting the negative cable on. We had to start with that because it was in the front. And pretty simple. You just put the bolt through the wire and there's actually a eyelet on there, and then you just screw it into the battery. And we'll tighten her up with a ratchet. Alright, now that the negative is on, we can slide the battery back up into the tray, and then we'll work on putting on the positive side. There are two wires here, both have eyelets on them. Same thing, put the bolt through the two eyelets of the wires, screw it into the battery, and you're all set. We tighten that up with, I believe it was a 10 millimeter wrench as well. And then once we got the positive tightened up, we put the aluminum bracket back in place. Clip it on the front, push it down so it holds the battery in place. Put the 10 millimeter bolt back in and tighten her up. Then we were okay to put the side covers on and the seat. I grabbed the wrong one here. It was actually for the other side, so I had to grab the right one. But it kind of slides into the plastic on the front. There's a little groove that it goes into, and on the back it just pops into a grommet. There's a rubber grommet that holds it in. And then same thing on the other side. It slides in on the front. And then you pop a grommet in, but you got to make sure it goes around the shift lever over there and it fits on the groove. That one's a little more difficult to get in because you got to get it around the shift lever. It's not a solid front, it's two pieces that both got to get lined up. And then once you get the back pushed into the rubber grommet, then you can go ahead and put the seat on. The seat just slides down on the front. Then you push down on the back. Once you close the back box, it kind of holds the seat in place.
Alright, you guys have a good night.
Alright, later. The cool thing about the X2 is the reason I call it the X2 is you have your one seat here, and you can flip these two notches here and here. If you pull this ahead, you can lift up on the back, push this down, and now you got a 2-up seat here, footholds here. And in the state of Wisconsin, if you read the ATV rules for riding on the trails, you have to have a factory 2-up seat to be able to have 2 items. Well, this one would fit that requirement. Alright, and you come around the back here, it's got an actual tailgate. It's like a little mini pickup truck. In the dump box, dumps a little latch on the front. Alright, now the battery's changed, we'll fire it up and see how it goes. Fires right up, that's the beauty of an EFI. Now we'll take her out and see what kind of time we can get on the test track. And away we go. Conditions weren't quite ideal here. See it snowed the night before, and things kind of covered in snow, really slippery. I had a hard time accelerating up this hill. But I can't tell you how fun this was. Driving that 4-wheeler through the snow and mud, I had a really, really good time. She got a little squirrely on me here, but we were able to hold her straight. Plowed area on the field, it gets a little muddy and there's a little standing water there. As we head into Maple Turn. We cut back around Brody's Bend. This is actually a drainage ditch, so you can see the water is running off. Got a little bit of splash here. It handled it really well. I can't tell you how fun this was. That 800 makes some good power. There you go. That's the 2009 Sportsman 800 X2 on the test track. Again, that was a lot of fun. We had that snowfall. Everything was a little slippery and muddy because it was melting off. But so that's the Sportsman project I had mentioned in a previous video. I bought that off a farmer down by Dodgeville. We switched out the tires and rims. I had the stock 12-inch on there. We switched them for RZR 1000 rims and tires. Made it look a lot better. Has a lot better performance as well too. When I bought it, it had a bad crank in it. It was a real mess. So we went online, found the Kalama big bore and stroker kit, put that in there along with a performance cam. Unfortunately, the cam did not last. It wore the lobe right off. So we ended up putting a stock cam back in it. And it wasn't much longer after that the Kalama crank went out on it again. So it's got a stock size crank from Crankworks in it. Still runs good. It has the big bore. The pistons from Callum are really nice. They're nice racing pistons, so we left those in there. And the big bore jug, we left that on there. We took the spacer out to get it back down to the stock stroke. But I can tell you, when it had that stroker crank, big bore pistons, and the hot cam in there, it made a lot of power. It was really fun to drive. It still is. It still makes pretty good power. It's a twin cylinder from factory at 760 cc's with that big bore kit in there. It makes it almost 800. Not a big difference, but you can kind of tell a little bit there. And it does run EFI, so it adjusts for itself for putting that big bore kit in there, which is kind of nice. It has a selectable all-wheel drive, so you'll switch on the handle there. You can go between 2 and 4-wheel drive with a 2-wheel lock, which works pretty good. From the factory, it says about 820 pounds, so it's not a light machine, but it's extra long. It's got that extra flip-down seat box on the back, and the 800 X2s are kind of hard to come by. I was happy I found that one. I was looking for a while to get one, so it works out really well. The seat cover we got off eBay. That green is supposed to match the green of the plastic, but you can tell it's a little bit lighter. It didn't quite work out right. The old seat looks like the farmer's dog got a hold of it, chewed up the cover and some of the foam really good, so we had to put a foam piece in there to kind of fill it back in, and we put a layer of foam to smooth it out, put the seat cover back on to fix that one up. But anyways, let's get to our lap times here. Again, conditions weren't ideal out there. You can see it was muddy and snowy, and the drainage ditch actually had water running through it, so we got to do a little splash action there. First lap was a 132.4, third lap was a 131.5. Fastest lap was the second lap at 130.9. So we'll get that on the board. There you go. You can see it's the slowest on the list, but I have no doubt if the conditions were better out there, I know if it was less snow, less slippery, less mud, it'd have been right up in there close to that F800. Hopefully you like this week's video. Join us again next week for more content. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.